The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomas Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast. With us today, we have Ramon Casaus, the founder of ROC Real Estate Partners. He's a serial entrepreneur with business holdings in real estate sales and investment, insurance, and business consulting. Ramon also hosts a podcast himself, The Battle Tested Business, so this is nothing new for him. And he keeps on making an impact, being that with a relationship with himself or one of his companies. And today, we have that impact right here on the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Welcome to the show, Ramon.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So where are you calling us from?
I'm down here in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. Yep, hanging out with the family up here for about a week. Actually, today's the last day, so it's gonna miss it.
Well, but let's mark this last day with this recording, I guess. It's a celebration. And tell us, Ramon, tell us a bit more about your real estate journey.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, ROC Real Estate Partners was the company we started, I guess year one, but really it started in 2016. And I've had this weird inclination. It wasn't something I had any idea what I was getting myself into or knew what I was doing, but I always leaned towards being a team leader, right? I leaned towards having agents and becoming the team leader, doing the brokerage. It just always ended up going more towards the business side of real estate and more than me actually selling real estate. I did really good at that, but I knew that I wanted to be more in an organizational leadership role. So yeah, 2016, fast forward a ton of stuff in between there. I'm sure we can talk about up until today. And we are a sales team of about 35. We operate in about 3 states, and we should do about 600 units this year. So yeah, we're having a pretty good year.
Nice. And so but did you ever sold real estate in your life, or you always involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way it happened was the first 2 years, 2016 and 17. It was really after 17. I had made an amount of money I didn't think would happen 2 years out of college, right? And what that did was that gave me the ability to now re-examine and look at my business, look at my situation, and in my opinion, money is time. So what that gave me is the time where I can now build the business and build out my real estate team to facilitate the life that I knew I wanted to live. And for me, it just wasn't being the sales guy every single day. I had a blast doing it. I think I sold almost 100 homes in 2017, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And yeah, with the ROC Real Estate Partners, you seem to have a lot of phases in it, right? Being that residential, commercial, multifamily. Was it always like this, or did you start out in one and then expanded?
Yeah, so we were always in residential, but then, what happens is that, and there's some, hopefully I can give some strategic, takeaways, but when the Corona, the pandemic, all that stuff's happening, you start getting to a point across the US where, the inventory is so tight, right? Like it's actually making it hard to sell homes because of how aggressive and how short of supply we are with houses. So, we had to look around and go, hey, we got to get creative here. How can we find niches and exploit things that other people aren't looking at? So, one of those was we went and hired and pulled one of the top commercial agents from one of the top local firms in our market. And we opened up a division for commercial because it was like, hey, those are assets we weren't selling before, and now we are, right? That's additional inventory that we can now service. And then for our own personal investments too, it makes a lot of sense. And then we brought on the multifamily person, but that was just hey, how can we get, deeper roots in our market, and how can we facilitate more business and carve out a niche that we probably weren't exploiting at the time. And yeah, so it was kind of a reaction to low inventory.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean, because even we partnered up with one of our clients, and he used to work in commercial, and he was having so many leads that he was already out of inventory. So now is entering the residential world, because sometimes you can even use the same leads. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
in terms of investing, even, if someone is looking forward to invest in residential, I think a little pitch can turn him into a commercial investment. So yeah,
Yep.
it's good of you to pivot and improvise and to show that new facets of your company. And so do you still manage to have all the segments working smoothly?
Yeah, I mean, working smoothly is all relative, right? Yes. Do we put them together the best we can, and we're always looking to improve them? Absolutely. I oversee. Yeah, that's really my job. Is more on the, strategic role on how are we positioning ourselves to be competitive going forward, right? How are we increasing revenue, and where are we going as a company? That's really my day to day. But what the commercial also is, in my opinion, like I think teams are the future of real estate. If you ask me, I'll tell you that. I think the biggest teams that have the systems, the processes, the lead generation, the transaction management, the listing coordinator, all that stuff combined, right, makes a very predictable and consistent quality service, right? And I think that's what clients are going to be demanding going forward. So I think that, like, for example, the commercial multifamily is just one step where somebody comes into your ecosystem and they don't have to leave, right? It's kind of like the Amazon effect, right? Like once you're in Apple products, once you're in Amazon, right, Prime, you don't even need to go to the store ever again. Like you could stop right then and there. So we want to look at it as, once we bring someone into our ecosystem, we have to be able to service a variety. Like we have to be able, not refer, we have to be able to
Right.
to service them in those different areas. So the commercial multifamily is obviously, if I can serve your investment needs or your business, whatever the case might be, but it's a step in the direction where we believe that, title, escrow, insurance, real estate sales, landscaping, general contracting, inspections, like those are things that at some point, I believe that teams will have to either have strategic partnerships or have brought in-house to be able to service their clients.
Yeah, that's true. Even some say that the future of marketing is something that is called like integration marketing, which is basically complementing every other service with another service. So
Yep.
that's what you're doing right now. I know you maybe want to start a fast food chain and say, okay, you want to invest in commercial real estate. Oh, but you're also hungry. Like, I have some food for you.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, right? Yeah, I like to integrate. Yeah, well, I mean, you think about it. It's like, look, why do companies like, these different lenders out there, Rocket Mortgage, Loan Depot, Quicken Loans, or look at your just neighborhood insurance, neighborhood, mortgage, instead of going out and blanket marketing, right? Like going to the consumers directly, they'd rather just go straight to the agent and cut a deal, right? Lower their price or pay out a commission to the agent or pay out the commission to somebody, because it's cheaper just to go directly to the source, right? It's more effective, opposed to trying to go around the agents. Like, I think the agents are still and always will be the center of every transaction, but it's just a matter of aligning yourself with those teams that are facilitating the business.
Yeah, so you want to be that whole, and do you think you already achieved that, or do you still, because you told me you were also in insurance and mortgage, is that already a part of ROC Real Estate Partners, or it's a different company?
Yeah, so we started an insurance company back in 2019, and the whole reason why, and I have a business partner who is, I mean, he's amazing. That's his operation day to day, right? He's a big part of the success that we've had. But I looked at it and I went, well, okay, here's the problem with my real estate sales business, is that it doesn't sell for anything. It's not an asset. It's just a cash flow machine, right? And at the time when I was selling real estate, not only is it not an asset, it requires a lot of my time. So don't get me wrong, time in, good money out. But at the end of the day, if I stop putting my time in, it's not really worth much. when I looked at the insurance financial model, it was like a light bulb. I said, whoa, hold on here. You're telling me that this thing gets more valuable over time doing the same amount of business and cash flows and gets more valuable and sells for a multiple? I'm in. Let's do it. So we started that business in 2019, and yeah, it's been a big part of our company, and I think we're in 17 states now doing business through our insurance company. But yeah, no, that's been a fun one, and I highly recommend any agent looking at like taking vertical integration seriously and ancillary services and seeing how you can get involved.
Yeah, but it's not that easy as it sounds, but maybe
No.
it's not that scary as it sounds as well. Or I don't know, what's your takeaway on that?
There's a good saying that I like, and it goes, it'll be hard either way. It'll be hard whether you do it, and it'll be hard whether you don't do it. So pick your hard. And so, yeah, everything looks easier from the outside, that's for sure. But this is how I look at it. I'm not an insurance professional, right? I'm real estate, relationships, business building. So you have to find a strategic partner, like on the insurance side. That strategic partner is the person who is the head of the operation, right? And so you have to learn how to, do what you're good at, but stay in your own lane. But finding partners who that's what their expertise is. That's who you want to look to partner with. You don't have to own the whole business and run the whole thing, but you want to find operators that can run it for you, right? And be a part of the business. That was a huge part of how we set up that company, the insurance company. That's, I think, is why it's been so successful.
Yeah, alone you're not going to do a vertical integration for sure. Yeah, the partnerships are key.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
And yeah, tell us how did your real estate career and your wonderful life manage to integrate it with EXP?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good story. It was back in 2017 where I had actually been invited to an EXP. They call them EXP Explains, or like EXP, whatever you want to call them. Come learn about it. I got all kinds of cool names and acronyms. And so I went over there and I met this guy named Brian Colhane, who happened to be one of the original founding members of EXP. And at the time, I just wasn't ready, man. I didn't get it. Like, it didn't make sense. I was still building my team. And I just felt like I was already kind of unstable, like making him, I don't know. I just basically psyched myself out of it. But I also had met some guys that were in my market, and they just didn't rub me the right way. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the whole recruiting thing. Like, okay, I see what's in it for you, but what's in it for me? Like, what? Like, they couldn't make sense of it. So I really turned down the idea. And then in 2020, we were actually expanding into multiple locations, and multiple locations in New Mexico. And I was just like, man, there has to be an easier way to do this, because it was just a lot of logistical BS and management stuff that it was just taking a lot of time, and the return wasn't so great. So I saw on Facebook this post that said expand with EXP. It was actually Brian, the guy I had met. And I hit him up and I messaged him and said, hey man, tell me about this expand with EXP thing. And in all reality, it was just a play on words, right? It was just an acronym. I had no idea, but we got back in the conversation, and he took the time to explain the model to me, the nuts and bolts, the fine numbers. Got right down to it, introduced me to a guy named Tariq El Musa from HGTV that we ended up partnering with. And he took the time to explain it the right way. And when the light bulb went off for me, it went on, like it turned on quick. I said, whoa, hey, okay, let's do this. So in 2020, August of 2020 is when we ended up merging with EXP Realty, our entire brokerage. So we transferred 60 agents in one shot with 100% retention.
Nice. So you didn't leave any agent behind.
Didn't leave any agent behind. Nope, they all came.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a scary move. Like no, the independent broker, everything's you're in control of everything, and then to kind of let go of that is a little bit nerve-wracking, but it was definitely best for the growth of our organization.
And yeah, we had some top agents here that already transformed their brokerage into EXP Realty, and some of them, I don't think we had one that had 100% of retention. Do you have any advice on how to transfer was it indie brokers, right? To brokers like EXP Realty, and manage to maintain everyone and with the mentality aligned with yours?
the reason why a lot of our agents chose to come with us is because they understand that the model is actually different, right? The way the financials work and operate in that company is different than everything else that's out there. And when they start understanding that, being a part of this company will help them at some point. If they choose, the company will compensate them, pay them to be at the brokerage. Your brokerage becomes a part of your income and not your expense anymore. That's game changing. Traditionally, it's always an expense. Like there's no situation where it's not an expense. And now you have the opportunity for it to be part of your income. So for most agents, right, and you could just use this as a blanket statement. The average GCI, gross commission income, on an annual basis for 2021, I think was like $45,000, $46,000. Okay. When you look at, you can easily increase your income by 50% easily within a year, and not sell any more homes, just be an advocate for the company, right? Compensation for contribution. That's life-changing for a lot of agents. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5,000 a month goes a long way. And it's something that agents didn't have before. So once our agents started understanding that aspect of it, and the cultural side, combined both of those, it was a great transition.
Nice. But yeah, it's still impressive that you managed to take out the 60. We recorded, I think it was 2 episodes ago, I was recording with Angela Fazio. And you, yeah, and they had the big
900 or something like that.
900, and they could only get 300. So like that's 600 agents. That Angela did say that some of the agents then went like to EXP after they realized it was working. But that's 600 agents that didn't understand the message.
Yeah. I think what also happens too is there's just a natural progression of change, right? The moment change is introduced to somebody mentally, they start going through a roller coaster of emotions and feelings. And as real estate agents, it's such a hustle to get stuff to run smoothly. It's such a hustle, right? And then once you get it even remotely smoothly under control, the last thing you want to do is throw anything that you think might cause chaos into your business. So a lot of the times as agents, we're super resistant to change, right? Because we want to keep on the path of smoothness, right? Of predictability, of reliability. We want all those things. So a lot of times we put off those decisions, but we've always said, at least with our company, ROC Real Estate Partners, that look, when things are going really good, that's when we should make the largest organizational changes, not when things are going really bad, right? Start looking to change when you don't need to, right? And be making decisions where everyone else is saying, oh man, this is great. Let's get it while it's good. Let's keep building the foundation through those times.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful statement to say, because of course in sports, if your team is playing good, you're not going to change your team. So when you talk about the changes, is you should change at your best, because like there's like greater power to make the change, or like why are you saying that?
Well, no, it's because most people, when things are going great, they're not thinking about how could I make it better.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like when you talk to a broker or an agent and they go, oh man, I'm good where I'm at. I'm making, $750,000 a year, whatever. They're doing really good. Right. So most agents, when they're doing that good, aren't looking for change. But it's like this. It's like, when do most people start saving money? They start saving money when they start losing money. When do you start going to the gym and taking it more serious? When you see a photo of yourself on vacation and go, holy shit, I gained some weight. Or maybe your pants start fitting a little bit too tight. Yeah. That's when you go, oh, I should probably start, instead of doing all of those things proactively without having to experience the bad. So while things are going good, you're saving money, you're exercising, you're making changes in your business, opposed to the opposite way around. When things are going good, you take your foot off the pedal, right? And that's what I think, going back to my point about when you get to a certain point in real estate, we're like, man, it took so hard to get here. I don't want to risk messing it up. Right. And to me, that's a scarcity mindset, right? Like, I'm scared that I either can't build it again, or that the decision I make isn't going to take me further. But no, we as an organization intentionally choose to take the more uncomfortable route. And it's paid off in about 3 major decisions we made as an organization. It's paid off very, very well.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I like the saying, like there's only growth outside the comfort zone. So yeah, that's like going outside the comfort zone and not staying in, waiting for results to just be
And
always the
and
same.
and like I said before, it'll be hard either way, right? Like it'll be hard,
Yeah,
wishing that you had done more, and it'll be hard when you do more. Like you just pick whichever hard you want to deal with.
exactly. So yeah, tell me, how what is the? I saw you had this thing that's called a resource call. Can you tell me more about it? Like, obviously, I figure it's a good resource for agents, but if you can
Yeah,
give us a thing on that.
yeah. So I mean, being in the industry, I learned that being in the industry now for about 5 years, I've learned that helping agents and helping others in the industry is the easiest way to find success yourself. It's just a law of reciprocity, whatever you want to call it. So I've had the opportunity to meet, I mean, a handful of amazing real estate entrepreneurs, team leaders, brokerage owners. I mean, you name it, right? Just astounding people. And every month we get them on a call, and I basically introduce them to my network. And so it's just my way of, I'm out there exploring, having meetings at events, meeting a ton of cool people. And so anyone who is affiliated with me or knows me, I want to introduce you to my network, right, of cool people in the industry. So that call is just introducing them to whoever the person is, that's that I bring on, and hear what they have to say. Everyone has kind of a unique take to the business, and has a unique story, and I just want to share that with everyone.
Nice. So I guess like that's one of the value adds that you show to your EXP organization and to make them grow. What other efforts do you do like on a daily basis to grow your organization?
Yeah, I mean, so it is semi for that purpose, right? It's for the people that are already in the organization, right? Because I want you to get the best info. I want you to go for, like, you're already on my team, right? I want my team to go fast. And then, yeah, if you're looking around and going, hey, is this a cool person to be as my sponsor for EXP? Sure, hopefully you think that. The other side of it, though, is to keep podcasts. I tell you, agents make the mistake when they look at podcasts and they go, what's the ROI? And the reality is that there's really not a huge ROI from a sales perspective. Sure, could you do a homegrown, grassroots, strictly about one community podcast? Could you do that and make some? Yeah, for sure. But that's not very exciting for most agents. But yeah, there's really not an ROI on sales, but there's a social capital and a social ROI that is far further than you would ever think, right? Like, for example, me and you would probably never have spoken, right, realistically, unless we were doing this podcast together. So we get to use the podcast, the resource call, whatever the case is, as a way to reconnect with people, to build relationships, right? It's a way to continuously build that social capital over time with people in the industry. And so then, yes, all that combined, if it ends up being resulting in a growth of the organization, fantastic. But I use it for a variety of different reasons than just attraction.
Yeah, it ends up being sort of an indirect type of marketing, which it still works, because it's all about your brand and your personal brand.
Yep. Well, also too, being, going to a lot of, entrepreneurship, real estate events, you meet some cool people, right? But then you always got to ask yourself, like, what is my offer? What is my niche? What is my reason to reconnect with this person? Because I can meet you at an event and never talk again. That doesn't really do much, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to build a relationship with somebody. So I found that the podcast is a super easy relationship builder, because it's like, hey man, I would love for you to be on my podcast. It's called Battle Tested Business. It's about XYZ. Is that something you'd be up for doing? And they're like, yeah, of course, man. Let's make it happen. Okay, cool. We schedule it. Now that's my follow-up, right? That's my build relationship. That's my, connection with that person. So it's like, it's an easy way to have a reason to get back in contact with that person, right? Is have a platform, big or small, doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's been one of the most useful parts of having a podcast is I have something to offer somebody and to reconnect in the future.
Nice. Yeah, that's what we are doing over here. So we know the
Yeah,
gist.
yeah.
And yeah, but what's of course you say like there's not a big ROI on the podcast, and it's more about the social impacts. But what type of people, what type of guests are you trying to invite, and what are you trying to show with the podcast?
Yeah. So, it's basically like people who took the uncomfortable route, right?
Hmm.
It's about people, the real truth, the hard stories, right? The trials and tribulations, right? The entrepreneurs that I've found have been successful in multiple ways in their lives, whether it's spiritually, relationship, family, financially, whatever it might be, and share that story. And so it's basically anyone who I think is awesome, an awesome human. And I want to introduce awesome humans to the world because I think we need more of them. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, I kind of keep it pretty conversational. It's not like just like how this is. It's not very scripted. It just goes with the flow. You know what's funny is that we'll bring people on who are real estate, and I intentionally try to do this because it's just fun. They're real estate guys or financial analysts, or they're entrepreneurs, or they're race car drivers, or they're a former Navy SEAL, whatever the case is. Then I like to talk about things that are completely opposite. Like I like, okay, if you're a real estate guy, I'm going to try my hardest to not talk about real estate because I want to get to know you, right? You've said the
Yeah.
real estate pitch how many times? You've said this story. And so I know how it is because sometimes you do get a little burnt out just talking about, your real estate business. So yeah, it's always fun to get to know people on a different level.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we could have done that. I love to talk about sports and traveling and all, but we also want to deliver the value to our audience. But it was what I was saying to you before we started the podcast, that real estate can and it is in the casual matter very repetitive, like when how many times have you heard people say that consistency is key? Consistency is
Yeah.
very important. Oh, one of the things that is most important is consistency. And instead of you just saying that, like if you tell like your own background story on how you learn that morale, like it's way better than you just saying like 5 words. But yeah, I do know what you mean because I've been on the podcast, and I love when people have to say something different around real estate and not
Yeah.
always the same.
Yeah.
Well, the same
For
pitch,
sure. Oh yeah.
But yeah, tell me, Ramon, you also wrote a book. I also want to hear more about this. It's called No Permission Needed. Uh, what do you
Yep.
have to say?
Yeah, it's a collection of stories and of examples of what you just said, right? Don't say consistency is key. Tell me or show me a story where that was the case. And
Nice.
it's really it's a compilation of my experiences as an entrepreneur, in my first 5 years in building a reasonably successful real estate business. But yeah, it was a fun project. You know what it really comes down to is this. I always view the industry like there's how many million, 1.5, 2 million, somewhere in between there, real estate agents in the US alone. Okay. At some level, you have to start looking around and being serious about this outlook is what makes me different, right?
Mhm.
Honestly, not I answer my phone, I care so much about my clients. Like what makes everyone does that. Okay, great. I know the area so well. Yep. Okay. So what makes you actually different? And to me, you have a perception, right? People 99, well, not 90% of people will find you online, right? They're going to look you up. They're going to type your name into Google. They're going to go to your social media, the podcast, the book, the other companies, the other brands, whatever else you do, right? Those are all differentiators. And you need more than one. But when you have more than one, you have a client or anybody is going to look at this agent or this agent. Which agent are you going to perceive has more value? The one that's written the book, has the podcast, right? Has celebrity endorsements, or the agent who's holding up a for sale sign, right? Now, me and you, knowing the industry, well, I would say, I don't know. It depends, right? I don't know. But consumer is 90% of the time is going to point out the person with all the differentiators, right? The factors that make them visually different. And so as agents, the book was just another one of those. It's just another thing I was willing to do that, 99% of real estate agents aren't willing to do. And it's, how do you make yourself different? How do you stand out? And so that was another one of those situations with the book.
Nice. That's great. That's great. And hey, it does help out, showcasing you out in the world. And if people know that you wrote a book, they may look you in a different way, in a different good way, in terms of like getting into business with you, partnering with you, buying a house from you.
It's all authority, man. It's authority, right? That's all it is. Yeah. How do you, my business card is my book, right? Get on my Instagram. That's my book. And if you want it, that's my business card. If you want it,
yeah.
I also think that when you look around, you start to see a world where every agent is flocking to social medias, right? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, whatever, all of them, right? Facebook. And they're all trying to come up with creative ways to market themselves. And why is that? Because the game is that it's not about what you know or who you know, it's about who knows you. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, the best marketer is going to win. The best marketer will win. And I've realized that over time, where I'm sitting in an audience in the bleachers, if you will, watching somebody give some speech that I know I'm more qualified to give.
Yeah.
But the reality is that this person does a better job at marketing themselves personally than I do. And that's created opportunities where now they're the authority in the room, and I'm sitting on the bleachers, right? I'm sitting in the audience being salty. So you have to look around and go, okay, how am I going to get more notoriety? How am I going to build a larger presence? How am I going to build an authority in my space? And that's just one tick, right? That's just one checkbox in the book. I mean, you just start going down the list of things that you can do, because like I said, the reality is about who knows you. More people that know you, more eyeballs you have on your business, more people that read your book, whatever the case might be, on your social medias, the larger your business is going to be. It's that simple. You can scale a personal brand. It's very hard to scale a real estate team. It's very hard to scale real estate transactions. It's tough. It can be done, but it's way easier to scale a personal brand.
Yeah, I believe in that. So tell me, Ramon, where do you go from here? What are your goals? I know you told me you're more involved in the strategic parts and perspectives of the company. So tell me what is going to happen.
Yeah, so we have a very big merger we're in the middle of right now. Maybe we can reconnect on it down the road. We're in the middle of a big merger right now with one of the top real estate technology platforms in the world. Really excited about it. It's a pre-IPO company. And we're in the middle of that right now. And so what our next step is to expand to the state of Arizona, actually take my real estate exam in a couple days for Arizona, and really rebuild, or not rebuild, I guess, but start over the building process of ROC Real Estate Partners in Arizona, and then go from there. I mean, Arizona is a great market. We love Phoenix. Tons of real estate, great average sales price, tons of people moving there, booming city. So time to move on and spread out, expand our business into some neighboring states.
Nice. And so on, right? Is not.
And then that's right, man. And then it's really like, hey, where do I want to live? Like, I've always wanted to live in Scottsdale, so we're going to go expand to Scottsdale. Maybe after a couple of years, I'll want to live in Dallas or something. So then we'll go expand into Dallas. That's kind of how we're probably going to do it.
All right. Looks great. And yeah, a question that now no one wants to hear, but I think you like it, is in what areas do you feel you need to improve, and what are you currently doing about it?
That's a good one, man. That's good. Well, I think, when you're in a leadership role, you're always can improve on being a better leader. In my opinion, it's a never ending journey. So that's one thing that I would say that I know I need to constantly be improving on and need to improve on. What I'm doing to improve that is I'm partnering with better leaders, partnering with guys who do run organizations of 1,000 people, right? Employees, not contractors, 1,000 employees, and watching how they work, watching how they operate, watching how they treat their company and their decisions and their leadership styles, getting around those people and learning from them. That's what I'm doing to get better, at least at the leadership role.
Nice. Sometimes people get a bit
man.
held off on this question. So sometimes I like to put people on the spot, see how they react.
Yeah, it is. That's a good question, man. That's yeah. I mean, there's no internal or external solutions for internal problems doesn't get anybody anywhere, right? You always got to start with you.
Exactly.
There's a good book called Extreme Ownership. That's probably one of my favorite books out there. If you've ever read it, it's a really good one by Jocko Willink. Extreme Ownership.
All right, we'll add a link to the description as well for the audience to catch on that. And yeah, tell me, Ramon, how can our audience reach out to you?
Instagram's probably the easiest way, man. That's where you can find everything.
Yeah, and as you said, just Google the name. You're hard to miss.
Yep.
You can get the book, you can get the podcast, and yeah. Ramon, thank you so much for coming here and from taking a break from your family break to be here on the podcast. I see you have a beautiful view there. I'll let you go for a swim. Beautiful.
Yeah, not bad, huh?
Not bad. Right, brother.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, man.